99.3 Nigeria Info, Lagos. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria had recently banned individual and agency protocol activities at the airport. What informed this, and how has the enforcement been?
Actually, the instruction to ban this came from the Office of the Vice President of Nigeria, and is in line with the ease of doing business. Aviation industry or aviation business is not static, it's progressive. And we needed to sanitize our arrival halls. Before now, when you come to our public concourses, you see a lot of activities, a lot of movements. Some of these people have no business being there, but they always come under the guise of protocol. So FAAN decided to streamline it. All the protocol officers are now expected to register with FAAN. We have a service we call passenger support service. So all these protocol officers from the different agencies and ministries register with us. If they have principles they need to receive, they'll give us information ahead of time. Our protocol officers will receive them on their behalf and bring them out and hand them over to them at the public concourse. They are no longer allowed to come into arrival halls. They are no longer allowed to go to the aviation bridges. Before now, you could see some protocol officers at the aviation bridges. It's not done anywhere in the world. So we're doing this in order to sanitize our terminals and to reduce, movement of all kinds of people in our airports.
Okay, talking about reducing the movement of people, is there anything being done in terms of making use of modern technologies like the CCTV and other techniques? Instead of sometimes you see heavily armed personnel, restricting movement of people.
Okay, the MD FAAN, Captain Rabiu Adudu, is coming in with a lot of good ideas now. Very soon, interface between passenger and most of our staff at the airport will be reduced to the barest minimum. You're going to see a lot of self-service kiosks in all of our airports now to reduce interface. So most of the things that you're supposed to come to the airport to do them, there are things you can do on your smartphones, you can do at home, you can do at some of these kiosks just to reduce interface. And of course, this year too, we're improving on our CCTV coverage to ensure that all of the nooks and crannies of our airports are covered, so that if there are activities that are going on that are not supposed to go on, they'll be captured by these cameras, just to reduce activities, that are unwholesome and are not too palatable for us.
Okay, you spoke earlier about challenges that has to do with protocol officers.
Yes.
We know that there are other organizations around the airport, and all of these organizations will have challenges that, as a result of their presence, that now their FAAN is actually experiencing. Can you talk to us on some of these challenges?
Most of them come there in order to receive their principals or receive dignitaries. So we have set up this, I told you, passenger support service in order to help them surmount some of these challenges. When they streamline their activities with ours, we are the airport, we are the professionals, we know what to do. So we help them to take care of these challenges. They don't have to come to the airport all of the time and mill around and constitute a nuisance in our airports. We have offices, we have lounges where we keep them. And when they come in with such issues, we handle them in our office and in our lounges without their having to go all over the place. When they tell us what they are, we go on their behalf to these airlines, to these offices where they have issues, and we handle them for them, instead of them moving all over the place.
Okay, what is the date of project delivery at airports across the country, especially the new terminal?
The Honorable Minister recently, while he was inspecting the Akanu Airport at Enugu, did mention that he was going to deliver the Malam Aminu International Airport in Kano this year, and of course the new terminal at the Murtala Mohammed Airport. So these are two new projects that Nigerians are looking forward to. They will certainly be commissioned this year. And if you remember, we've already delivered on two already, the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport and the Port Harcourt International Airport. So the next two we're expecting are these ones I just mentioned. And thereafter, by the end of the year, we're delivering the Enugu new terminal too.
Okay, sir. Okay. Passengers or perhaps travelers have often complained of conveyor belt, okay, trolley, okay, and harassment by tout. What is FAAN doing to checkmate all of this?
Okay. I'm happy to, well, inform you that our aviation security, they've been able to manage and get rid of almost 99% of touts and touting activities around our airports. I want to use this medium to appeal to members of the public and air travelers. Please, when you get to the airport, go as much as possible yourself to the preferred airline you want to use. Go to the counters, buy your tickets yourself and check in yourself. When you do that, you're also helping us to get rid of touts, you know. And then on the other hand too, you know, the issue of all of this infrastructure that you mentioned, that is why we're coming up with new terminals. Some of these facilities have become overstretched. If you know, the Murtala Mohammed Airport was constructed like 40 years ago, and it was constructed to handle a particular number of passengers. But now we take care of so many millions of passengers in a year. So now that we're building new terminals, it will take care of all of this. But before then, we are working on improving all of these facilities we have in our lounges. If you go to the Murtala Mohammed Airport now, I can assure you that our conveyor belts are working. We service them regularly. Where we need to replace them, we replace them. And the same goes for all the other airports too.
Okay, so what monitoring mechanism has FAAN put in place to check the illegal activities of police officers, immigration, customs, allegedly extorting money from travelers?
You know, when you say illegal activities, you know, FAAN does not work at the airport alone. All of these agencies you mentioned have a role or the other to play in the airport. The customs are there to check passengers coming in, and of course to check those are traveling, so that they have a role. The police too are there to maintain law and order. They are helping our aviation security. So they all have a role to play. And when you talked about the CCTV cameras earlier on, they are there too to checkmate some of these activities. So if at all they are doing any of these things, the CCTV camera will take care of them. But I can assure you that since the ease of doing business came in about 2 years ago, most of these activities have been streamlined. People do what they're expected to do at the airports now.
Okay, maybe as a follow-up to that question, FAAN has recently suspended a security officer named Jennifer Luka for theft. What is FAAN doing in this regard to stem this kind of activity among the others?
What happened with Jennifer Luka was an unfortunate incident, and it was a one-off thing. But I can assure you that now, for any person we employ into FAAN now, serious background checks are being carried out on the individual before you're employed. Even if you're employed, we still carry out those checks to ensure that whoever is coming into the system is an honest citizen, you know, that will not embarrass FAAN and not embarrass the country.
Okay. So what's FAAN doing to, you know, sensitize travelers on what items, you know, to come along with and or not?
You know, once you come into the airport, the first thing you notice at the entrance to any terminal is a screening machine. So once you pass your luggage through the screening machine, whatever item that is there that you're not supposed to travel with, the machine will pick it up and an alarm will go off. Do you understand? But when you go through that process, in the front of every check-in counter, there's a roller banner that states items you're not supposed to travel with. You're not supposed to travel with sharp objects. You're not supposed to travel with liquid. You're not supposed to travel with perfumes of a certain quantity. Some of these items are to be put in your check-in luggage. Do you understand? You know, when you're an officer, a military or police, you're not supposed to travel with your gun. You need to check it in. It will be handed over to the air hostess. At the point of disembarkation, it will be handed over to you. So some of these items are there on the roller banners for members of the public to see. But those ones I mentioned, liquids, matches, you know, aerosols, you're not supposed to travel with them at all.
Some people have actually blamed the rise or perhaps the increase in the drug peddling on the inadequate, the lack of FAAN having inadequate equipment to actually detect these people while trying to pass through the airport. What's your take on this summation?
Let me correct an impression. You know, I mentioned earlier that there are different agencies that work at the airports. Drug detection is not done by FAAN, it's done by the NDLEA. That is their solitary responsibility in our airports. And they're doing all that. in recent times, a lot of persons have been caught in our airports. I remember at the Murtala Mohammed Airport and at the Malam Aminu Kano Airport, they were trying to traffic in drugs. I don't know if you remember the recent incident of someone that ingested 10 wraps of drugs that was caught recently at the Murtala Mohammed Airport. So they have the equipment and they have the machinery and they have the technical know-how to know persons that are trafficking in these drugs, and they are doing the best that they possibly can.
So maybe lastly from my hand, what would be your suggestion on how to actually make Nigeria airport and upgrade its facilities to a global standard?
That is what we're doing. Our mission in FAAN and our mandate is to develop customer-centric airports at world-class standards. And our vision is to be amongst the best airport groups in the world. And we are going in line with that right now. You know, I mentioned earlier that we delivered 2 brand new terminals last year. That is one of the efforts that we're doing to ensure that we move in line with what is happening in the world. Dubai came out of nothing to what it is today. Nigeria is treading the same line. We have a brand new terminal at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. When the airport was commissioned, I remember a passenger that came out of the aircraft into our Aviation bridge and into the terminal, and she suddenly screams out, "I came to the wrong country." She couldn't believe that she was in Nigeria. So we're improving. And like I said earlier, on 2 other new terminals will be commissioned this year. So we're moving in line with what is happening all over the world to develop airports that are good, that are friendly, and at world-class standards too.
Okay, in terms of hygiene at the airport, I know some travelers had complained about the restroom and how the place is being maintained. What do you have to say about this?
We're doing our best. We have cleaners in all of our airports. I bet when you go to our airports now, you say marked improvement. At the Murtala Mohammed Airport, we completely removed old, sanitary wares and replaced them with brand new ones. And our cleaners are there. After 5 passengers, they go in, they check, they clean, they come out again. It's happening right now. What we're supposed to do, we're doing it in line, just like you said, with delivering world-class standards facilities in our airports. Our airports are clean now, I can assure you. They are not dirty at all.
Okay. Nigeria. Okay, go ahead.
Talking about cleaner.
Okay.
We've had of cleaners from FAAN that have found bag full of dollars and money and all that. What would you say has motivated or perhaps motivated this cleaner to keep on returning the money and the bag that they have found?
I remember the cleaner saying it was the way she was brought up, to be honest, to be God-fearing, and then to be faithful. She said the first time she found that bag and she returned it, some of her colleagues were laughing at her. "You are a cleaner, your earnings only so much. This is an opportunity for you to keep this money." But she remembered the training she got at home and she returned it. And today, she's better for it. I'm sure if she had kept that money, she would have finished spending it within maybe a few weeks or a month at best. But today, she's known nationally. She has been given a house probably from her job she couldn't have been able to own. She has a house now, got a presidential handshake, and all over now she's been recognized generally by different Nigerians. So honesty pays.
Okay, ma, can you tell us about the work that is ongoing at the Enugu Airport and the Port Harcourt Airport?
Okay, the Enugu Airport, which is a Kano Ibiam Airport, was shut last year by the MD FAAN, of course, federal government. It was done for safety reasons. The airport runway was beginning to fail, and so we needed to shut it down for safety reasons. One of our core values is safety. We have 3 core values: safety, comfort, and security. So safety is one of our core values. And so the airport was shut so that the runway repair works would take place, and then some of the other fittings that needed to be done will be done. The instrument landing systems, the lighting around the airfield, there were those things that needed to be done for the airport to be better, for aircraft pilots to land in safety without any issue or without any incident. If you remember too, the Honorable Minister of Aviation had to shut down the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport for 6 weeks so that runway repairs could take place. You remember that? So it was the same thing too that was done at the Conveyor Airport. And recently, about 2 weeks ago, the Honorable Minister was there to inspect the work that is ongoing. And he has promised Nigerians that the airport will be delivered just before Easter.
What actually happened in Port Harcourt? We learned there was a bushfire, and as a result...
Okay, yes, it was bushfire. I'm sure some natives, maybe chasing after bush rats, decided to set fire around the runway, you know, but I'm happy to inform you that the airport rescue and fire service personnel swung into action and were able to put out the fire after a few hours. But if you notice, before then, the airport was shut for a few hours. It was because the smoke that was coming from the bushfire affected, you know, the vicinity of the runway. So the airport was just shut for like 2 hours. And then when the smoke dissipated, the airport was opened again, you know, for flight activities.
Can you tell us, as an addendum to that question, can you tell us what happened in the past with the issue of cattle on the runway?
That was before we had perimeter fence. I'm happy to tell you now that we have perimeter fence almost around most of our airports. It's where we have gaps that, you know, these animals stray into our runways. But most of these airports now, especially the international airports, we have perimeter fencing around the airports now. So that has taken care of stray animals coming into our runways.
Okay, ma, it's 2020, and I know that in 2019, the FAAN would have had its challenges. And so Nigerians are expecting so much from FAAN. So in 2020, can you tell Nigerians what they should expect from the authority?
We're taking the issue of safety and security very seriously in this year. The MD FAAN, Captain Henrietta Yakubu, has assured Nigerians that safety is one thing that, you know, he's going to deal with in this year. At the Murtala Mohammed Airport, I remember some 2 months ago about a passenger that, you know, came on the asthma into the runway.
Exactly.
You know, I'm happy to inform you that we have increased the length of our fencing around the Murtala Mohammed Airport, and we have put on it what we call the concertina wire. This wire, if you go near it, it's going to slash your skin.
Wow.
So that is to serve as a deterrent to members of the public that we mean business this year. And of course, we've improved on our vehicular patrol, on our runways, on our airside. And the MD FAAN too has given permission for a tower to be built at the Murtala Mohammed Airport. This tower is different from the control tower. It's just going to be a tower where someone will be there to have access to look at both ends of the runway in case of any unauthorized entry by anybody into our airside for any kind of illegal activity. All these are done to ensure that safety and security is done so that we don't have issues in our airports again in this year. And the MD, of course, is very serious about training, you know, manpower development. We need to be abreast with what is happening all over the world. And this can only be done through trainings and constant trainings. Last year, our training school at the Murtala Mohammed Airport was accredited, and it became an ACI/ICAO training center. So a lot of trainings took place last year, and more we're expecting to take place this year in order to develop manpower and to also to keep us abreast of happenings all over the world.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma, for this audience.
Thank you very much.
We hope that when we come next time, you accommodate us.
Certainly. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you.